Hello, all you lovely individuals. Welcome back to League Unlock as the off-season is slowly getting into full swing, even though it's not the off-season. We're still waiting for Worlds to actually wrap up, but you know that rumors are already starting, and because the end of contracts are pretty much public knowledge, not pretty much, they are very much public knowledge, we got to take a look at the potential free agents in Europe because it's going to be a very interesting off-season. We know that everybody they don't want to come to NA. They want the money that's in NA, but I feel like EU's getting them enough money these days since they've been franchising, and the first year of franchising in Europe was probably a bigger success than the first one that we saw in North America. But nonetheless, you know, rumors are already swirling, and it sounds like several key players from, at the very least, playoff teams in Europe may be going somewhere else across the pond, whether it's North America or perhaps even somewhere else. We've already heard some rumors that maybe Reckless and or Broxa might be leaving Fnatic, while both of them still have their contracts set through this calendar year. Most of these guys, or all these guys, contracts are up November 18th or 19th of 2019. Upset and Ignar. Upset's a guy who, you know, kind of been linked to TSM maybe, or going somewhere. The most interesting ones here, though, are, of course, the two, or a couple of guys from Splice, a trio of them. Vizicachi, former MVP, who had his moments at the World Championship, but I'm really interested in what happens with Xerxes and Kabe because if you've been around the Twitter, it sounds like Xerxes wants to go to the LPL to be the first Western import to ever go over there. Obviously, the language barrier would be an issue, but his coach has tweeted about it, that he might be interested in playing there. And Xerxes himself obviously said he's going over different offers, even though he's still contracted with Splice for a couple of more weeks. I don't know if going to the LPL would be the best bet for him, but it definitely sounds like the core of Splice is going to be changing. And I think Kabe and Xerxes are clearly the two best players on Splice who will probably be getting the best or most offers from that squad. And alongside this potential, maybe Reckless is leaving Fnatic. I'm not sure I buy into them, but people are also maybe saying, okay, well, you need a solid replacement if Reckless is leaving, so maybe Kabe's going over to Fnatic to fill in that position, or maybe he's going to North America. People assuming TSM's going to have a vacant spot in at AD carry. So a lot of question marks, but I think Xerxes and Kabe are definitely, or I've got a feeling that they're not going to be on Splice when 2020 rolls around, which will be a little bit weird to see. Kabe has been there since 2016, so we don't know where they're going, but it sounds like there's a decent chance that those guys are going to be on the move. Vizicachi, I'm not so sure about. You remember a while ago, Upset said that he has found a team for the next split, and he's very excited about it. Now, that could mean that he's just re-signing with Schalke, but he's a guy who I feel like might be moving on as well. Jizuke, I feel like he's going to re-sign with Vitality, but outside of him, I don't know what people are going to be, what that roster is going to look like. We know that Mowgli's not going to be there. They got to keep Cabochard. I would keep Jizuke as well. The next most interesting has got to be Origin because 3 of the 5 starters have their contracts coming up in a matter of days. Mithy, Patrick, that bottom lane, and Cold in the jungle, Nukduck and Alfari are through to at least 2020. And Mithy, obviously, some of the big rumors, maybe Sven and Mithy are going to be reunited on Origin. Maybe Upset is going to Origin to replace Patrick. But for all the issues that Origin had in the summer split, because how quickly we forget what an incredible spring that they had, getting to the finals, taking down Fnatic, and you almost forgive the fact that they got 6-0 completely dumpster mollywopped by G2 when you look back on history and how dominant G2 was. They're in the World Finals. They won MSI, so maybe Origin doesn't feel so bad about that. But the fact that their summer split was such a disappointment, I think we're probably going to be seeing some roster changes with them. What does Deficio want to do? We've heard him speak highly of all his players, and I think it would be a big mistake to get rid of Patrick, the youngest player on the roster, the guy who's still developing and probably had the highest highs of anyone on the roster in 2019. That being said, maybe if you have the opportunity to get somebody like Upset, maybe that's a change you want to do. Cold, I don't know. EU, the jungle position is pretty stacked. I think pretty much the top 4 or 5 teams, Cold is not going to be able to crack that list. So I would feel pretty safe and want to stay on Origin if I was him. For Mithy, I think a lot of teams would still want a veteran presence like him on that roster. He might very well stay with Origin for another split. Maybe him and Sven are going to go somewhere else together and be reunited, because Mithy was, well, both of them got to the finals without each other. So maybe they want to be reunited. Maybe they feel like they don't need to. Vander on Rogue, I would like him to stay just to be that main veteran on a team full of bursting with youthful talent. Hjarnan and Mickey on Excel. I think Jeskla and Special are definitely the future for them. So I would be surprised if they stay. Maybe they're... I don't think Mickey's even staying in EU. And this last one is a bit of a meme here. Promise Q on G2. I mean, this guy has been blowing up without even having to play. He had the opening introduction where he's pointing at his MSI medal. I wonder if he will get a legitimate LEC starting chance just because of this rise to fame for being a sub on G2. I still don't think he's a terrific support and better than most of the LEC starting support players right now, but who knows, maybe he gets another chance on the Rift because he seems like an absolutely lovely and stand-up guy. Coming up after the break, we will take a look at the free agents in North America. 100 Thieves will probably undergo the most changes heading into 2020. We're back. It's League on Lock, and the free agency waitlist or queue time is about a little less than 2 weeks. So there's plenty of time to speculate, but there are a lot of big names that are potentially going into that free agent market in North America. We already looked at Europe and NA. Obviously, where these guys go, I think NA and EU are a bit related on what openings are going to be available. Some changes people are fully expecting. Someone like 100 Thieves, you've got to expect some changes are happening after the debacle that was their 2019 run with Papa Smithy coming in as general manager. You know, some changes will be coming that way. TSM, the Bjergsen to 100 Thieves dream is dead. He re-signed, obviously, as a part owner of TSM. And as a part owner, you got to imagine that he's going to have some say in where the roster is heading for the upcoming multiple years because, yeah, he is heavily implicated by what's going on. And the name that everyone was talking about basically the minute that TSM got eliminated by Clutch is Sven, and whether or not he'll be coming back. He's actually the only member whose contract is up at the end of the year, and I can't see him staying with TSM. He gave it 2 full years and wasn't able to capture an LCS title, didn't get to go to Worlds with the team, and I think he loved being that center of attention at the highest highs, the TSM chance. He absolutely thrived in that environment, but that comes with the incredible amounts of pressure and expectations, which, by the way, have definitely dwindled after these 2 years for TSM. But I feel like Sven is going to be going back to Europe. If he stays in North America, it would only be with TSM, and I think he's one of the changes that will likely happen. We never really saw him reach G2 or OG Neil's levels on TSM. He had small moments, small pockets here and there, but I almost feel like the underwhelming performances outweighed those pentakill highlight-worthy moments. So I think Sven's probably going back to Europe. Maybe, I mean, if there's a swap around with Kabe, Upset, Reckless, and Patrick, somewhere Sven is going to fit in there. Maybe whether he's going to Origin, maybe he's going to Schalke, he's going somewhere. I think Sven's going to go back to EU. You've seen on his streams that he still loves being home in Denmark, and I think being closer to family is something that will play into the cards for him. Don't think he's staying in North America. The rest of TSM, I think Broken Blade was pretty good, and he'll probably stay for another split or 2 splits another year. I think he absolutely should. Smoothie as well. It's really just that 80 carry in jungle that's going to be a massively glaring question mark for Team Solo Mid. Huni and Lyra, that's a huge change if they're not there for Dig in 2020. I would try and sign at least Huni, maybe both of them. I think Huni can pretty much still get a starting spot wherever he wants because he showed he can still be great although with some question marks, and the brand that he has is so huge. 100 Thieves, you see a lot of the boys there, their contracts being up. Bang is still there. Someday is still going to be there. Those are going to be the 2 import slots, which means how do you fill out the rest of that roster? I know Aframu had some very questionable games last split, but if you're talking about domestic supports, is there really anyone available that's going to be better than him? I don't think so. I think they should re-sign Afro. He's still a fantastic leader. He's got a great fan base, and I still have confidence in him being able to get back to a higher level. I think we still underestimate what it takes to develop synergy with someone in the bottom lane whose native speaking language isn't English. And a full year now, Bang is getting better at speaking English, and their synergy is only going to get better. I think that bot lane for 100 Thieves is going to be a lot better in 2020. Prawley's a guy whose contract is also up. Obviously, he's going to be talking with Papa Smithy, the new GM, and I think Prawley will probably stay. Maybe Ryu moves back to that assistant coach position, but the main goal here is they need someday starting in the LCS. Amazing is there as a non-import. They need someday and Bang and Amazing and Afro, which means it's just a mid lane that they really need to flesh out and find a domestic one. Get Golden Blue, get DeMonte, get whoever you can, but it's got to be somebody domestic. Power of Evil, I feel like he might want to stay with CLG. I think Meteos should be a priority for Immortals. He's still under contract with Optic. I hope for their sake they keep him. Him and Crown had fantastic synergy. And Xmithy on Team Liquid is a very interesting one. I feel like since the Jensen and Core JJ upgrades, it's poor Xmithy who's looked at as the weak link on this Team Liquid roster. If he doesn't go with Team Liquid, some other team will snatch him up immediately if they want him, because he is in that rarefied air of being a domestic jungler who has pretty much consistently been a top 3 jungler for his entire career, dating all the way back to Season 3. So whether it's on Team Liquid or not, I fully expect to see Xmithy in the LCS in 2020. That's it today for League Unlocked. My name's Eric. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll catch you next time.